Alan Wake might be Remedy's best game. Control, Remedy's most recent title, is also a great game, and I'll probably end up making a video on it sometime in the future. But releasing over 10 years ago, Alan Wake still impresses me to this day. And despite being a little dated, has actually aged very well, especially on PC. Recently, Remedy released a DLC for Control that ties together the story of Alan Wake and Control and really feels like a setup for a future crossover title between the two. At the very least, the DLC continued to fuel fans' desire to see another Alan Wake game, as it's been over 10 years. Well, 9 if you count the American Nightmare, which was a spin-off follow-up game released on Xbox Live Arcade. Today I thought I'd take a look back at Alan Wake and highlight what made it such a great game, and still continue to interest fans over 10 years later. The intro cinematic cements the tone right away and lets us know what kind of story we're about to experience.
Stephen King once wrote that nightmares exist outside of logic, and there's little fun to be had in explanations. They're antithetical to the poetry of fear. In a horror story, the victim keeps asking why, but there can be no explanation, and there shouldn't be one. The unanswered mystery is what stays with us the longest, and it's what we'll remember in the end. My name is Alan Wake. I'm a writer.
The quote from Stephen King is applicable to not just horror stories, but any story. His quote furthers my belief that a story doesn't need to over-explain or reveal too much or tell you what the moral is. Instead, that should be left up to the reader, or in this case, the player. A good story pushes the audience to ask important questions, it allows for interpretation, and offers a chance to put the pieces together on your own. That's how we can connect to stories, characters, and universes. Many modern games take a different approach, spelling out and explaining everything to the player, telling stories with very little depth or nuance. Alan Wake isn't that type of game. Instead, it's clever, captivating, and well written from beginning to end. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's take it from the beginning. Alan Wake begins in one of Alan's dreams. He's heading toward a lighthouse urgently down the road one night. He narrates the story himself, letting us get inside his head and hear his thoughts. It's a clever way Remedy allows us to connect with Alan. Like in this scene here when he hits the hitchhiker. We hear the thoughts running through his head like we're reading a book, told from Alan's perspective.
I'd seen the hitchhiker too late. He was dead. I was convinced they'd put me in jail and I would never see Alice again. Suddenly, his body was gone.
This book-like narration storytelling style really helps captivate the audience so well. The dream continues right into the gameplay. Our car is broken down, so we continue on foot towards the lighthouse. But wait, is that the hitchhiker? Oh shit.
You don't even recognize me, do you, Ryder?
No.
You think you're God?
No.
You think you can just make up stuff?
No.
Play with people's lives and kill them when you think it adds to the
No,
drama?
relax. Like any nightmare, it highlights our insecurities. Alan is very self-critical of his writing, and it manifests in the form of this Shadow Man.
You'll never publish another one of your shitty stories, 'cause I'm gonna kill you. It's not like your stories are any good. Not like they have any artistic merit. You're a lousy writer. Cheap thrills and pretentious shit. That's all you're good for.
There's no choice but to run, so we come to a bridge with a man shouting and waving us across, who no more than 10 seconds later finds himself on the opposite end of an axe.
No! No!
Oh goddamn. Yo! The hitchhiker got to him, and before long, it'll be us. Wait a minute. No. No way. Yo, fucking Joker? What's going on here? Get me out of here. Fuck! After being terrorized in a cabin, a mysterious voice of light reveals itself and introduces us to some gameplay mechanics. Alright, so the light heals me. A few seconds later, the light tells us how to defeat the Shadow Men by blessing us with a 6-shooter and a flashlight. Your flashlight is always on, but aiming the flashlight weakens the Shadow's strength and eventually breaks the darkness, allowing it to be shot by bullets. You must, however, ensure you conserve your flashlight's energy by focusing it as little as possible, or else you'll be replacing the batteries often. This core gameplay mechanic is fairly simple, but works very well. There isn't a reticle to aim your gun, just where the center of the flashlight shines. And it may take some getting used to at first, but eventually it feels very natural and is again very well done. We're then promptly introduced to another weapon, the flare gun, which is a great multi-target weapon as it both lights and damages the enemies. Already, the first 12 minutes of the game has interested us with its story, dialogue, and character, shown us the fundamentals of the game mechanics, and done so without any boring tutorials or endless exposition-filled cutscenes, proving Alan Wake to have one of the strongest and most fluid starts to any video game.
Baby, just another nightmare. Everything's fine. You dozed off.
Right. Anything more than dozed off would be news for everyone.
We're awake, and our wife has poor lip syncing, but that dream sequence was enough to already invest me in the story. In the real world now, we learn of what's actually going on. You're a famous writer who has a bad case of writer's block, who takes a vacation with his wife to clear his head. We have a conversation with one of the locals, a man who tells us about their Deer Fest that begins in 2 weeks.
Deer Fest, huh? Did you hear that, honey?
It also turns out he runs a radio show and just can't wait to interview the famous writer Alan Wake.
So, I hope this isn't too presumptuous of me, but I'm the night host at the local radio station. Any chance I could get an interview?
Look, Mr. Maine, I'm on vacation. In fact, I'd appreciate it if we could keep my being here just between the two of us. I'm sure you understand.
Fair enough. You can trust me to be discreet.
We make our way into town, the diner, to find a Mr. Stuckey who has the key to the cabin we're staying in.
I'd forgotten there were still places like this. Towns where everybody knew everybody.
Welcome to the Oh Dear Diner.
Hi, I was wondering if you could help me. I'm looking for...
Mr. Wake. Alan Wake. Oh, God! I am your biggest fan. I know people say that all the time, but I really am.
I'm glad to hear that.
Rose.
Rose, I'm looking for Mr. Stuckey. Carl Stuckey?
Carl? Oh, of course, Mr. Wake. He must have gone to visit the restroom. He'll be back in a moment.
The diner scene actually looks great graphically and is very well made. It's one of the best examples of how immersive this game can look and feel at times. Pirate Pete has me spin him a record on the jukebox, then it's on to find Stucky.
Hello? Mr. Stucky?
Carl couldn't make it. Unfortunately, he was taken ill. But I have the key for you and instructions on how to get to the lake.
Okay.
I wish you a good stay in my cabin. I'll come by later to check how you've settled in. And to meet your wife. I insist.
Thanks.
Well, that was pretty creepy, but I guess we've got our key, so we'll just get out of here.
Mission accomplished. The key and the directions.
My hero. I got some flashlights, just in case.
Hey, wait! Mrs. Wake! Your keys!
Wait a minute, if Mr. Stucky still has our key, then where am I going? We get to our cabin, turn on the lights, and get settled in. A radio on the back porch picks up our old friend's radio station, who lets everyone know about the famous writer who's come to town.
Just ran into one on the ferry. A famous artist, no less. We'll see if we can rope him into an interview later on. Now let's go.
Totally going against my wishes earlier. Upstairs, Alice says she has a surprise for us.
Alan, I'm upstairs. I have a surprise for you.
Oh, do you?
Well,
Oh, hello.
hello there.
I'm not the surprise. It's in the study. Go take a look.
Okay.
You played me, Alice. You almost had me. Oh, no.
Surprise!
Alice? What is this?
I guess I have a small confession to make. I thought maybe you could write here that a change of scenery would get you past...
Damn it, Alice, everyone keeps...
Hey, just hear me out. There's a local doctor, Dr. Hartman. I read a book of his. He has a private clinic here. He specializes in helping artists.
So now you want to get me committed?
No, it's not like that. That's not... Alan? Alan?
Just don't! I don't want to hear it! God damn it, Alice!
This game is only rated T for teen, but goddamn, it is genuinely scary at times. We storm out of the house to clear our head, and within seconds...
Alice? Alice? Alice! Alice? Alice? Oh no!
Keep going. Wake up.
Alice?
What the fuck? We're on our car now. Was that cabin blackout scene a dream? Or am I in a dream now? The mystery gets a little deeper, but now we need to find Alice. We best head for that gas station for some help. On our venture through the woods, we stumble upon some papers, a manuscript, our manuscript, of a book we never got around to writing. What does this all mean? Why are these pages here? This has to be a dream. Up ahead, another manuscript details a woman named Rose and her thoughts. And if you remember, Rose was the waitress in the diner scene, and this page lets us get inside her head in that moment.
Rose knew she had been gushing, but right now, she didn't care. As far as she was concerned, her brief meeting with Alan Wake was literally the high point of her life. She watched as he got in the car with his wife. She was pretty, confident, at ease with Wake. Not like Rose. They were perfect for each other. She'd have given anything to be called their friend.
These pages are detailing our time in Bright Falls. They read about things that have happened, or some of them seemingly read about things to come. Using these manuscripts, Remedy is able to cleverly foreshadow and call back to important details from earlier in the story, which allows the player to continually piece together the mystery. Some of them even detail and give reason for the game's mechanics, like this manuscript here that explains how the flashlight works as a weapon.
From a shark bite. I was terrified. I squeezed the flashlight like my life depended on it, willing it to stop coming any closer. Suddenly something gave. and the light seemed to shine brighter.
The attention to detail and clever writing really encourages you to find these pages around the game because they're so directly important and involved in solving the mystery. We find Carl Stuckey, but this time he doesn't just have our keys. He's got an axe, and he's shrouded in darkness like the enemies in my dream.
Hey, you!
Phil!
There's been an accident. I need help. Listen,
Deposit.
I need to...
Premium cabins for rent in
Oh, hell.
Carl Stuckey.
Please,
To meet you, non-refundable
reservation.
deposit required. Fair and square.
He chases us through a lumberyard into the office space, pulls a Jack Nicholson move from The Shining, then tries to ram us off the cliffside. Inside the office we find a flashlight and a gun, so we're at least a little prepared in case we run into Stuckey again. The game continues to throw more taken our way at a reasonable pace, not too many that it's annoying, but not too few that the game feels easy. And the tension remains high with proper use of enemy placement, lighting, music, and sound design. As we explore, the image of that woman continues to haunt us. Just before the station, Mr. Stuckey returns, hoping to finish the job, and this is the first mini-boss type fight in the game. It doesn't really challenge us too much, and shortly after killing Mr. Stuckey, a manuscript reveals a bit more about what happened right after we drove off without the key.
Stuckey spat on the garage floor and tried to shake the cobwebs from his head. Ever since the couple never showed to pick up the keys, things had been fuzzy. Something, a feeling caught his attention. Stuckey looked up and stared as his brain tried in vain to process the horror before him. He stumbled back, knocking over a can of oil. A black pool spread across the floor while he struggled for a brief moment, then let go as the unrelenting darkness engulfed him.
At the gas station, a sign reveals that Deerfest is 7 days away. Now at the beginning of the game, Deerfest was 2 weeks away, meaning we'd lost an entire week from then until now. What's going on here? Why has it been a week? Again, is this a dream or is this reality? The garage had been trashed, as if there'd been a struggle. The TV flicked on by itself to reveal something quite disturbing.
All right. I'll keep writing. Outside there's only darkness. Outside the cabin, outside the story, there's only darkness. I can feel her presence in the dark. Just now, I could smell her perfume in the room. I'll reach her, I'll fix it up. I'll bring her back. The story will come true. If I stop, she's lost. I don't believe this. It'd been me on the TV, talking crazy. Was I losing my mind?
This exact scene was foreshadowed in a couple of manuscript pages we'd found earlier.
Bright Falls Sheriff Station.
Oh, thank God, Sheriff.
Sheriff Sarah Breaker, you are...
I'm Alan Wake, but listen. I was in a car crash. My wife, Alice, she's missing.
Calm down, Mr. Wake.
We were staying in a cabin on the island, on Cauldron Lake.
There's no island on Cauldron Lake, not since the big eruption in the 70s.
Please, I can take you there, okay?
You look like you've taken a pretty bad knock to the head. Are you okay?
Listen.
We'll figure this out. Please get in the car. We'll swing by the lake and then we'll go to the station, okay? Mr. Wake, have you seen Stuckey, the guy who owns this place?
I realized I couldn't tell her what had happened in the forest. She wouldn't have believed me, and then she wouldn't have helped me with Alice.
And that concludes episode 1. The game has a total of 6 episodes that continue the mystery and continues to have this high quality storytelling. The game also has 2 epilogue type DLC chapters that wrap up the game in a pretty satisfying conclusion. Now the purpose of this video was to get you excited about Alan Wake so you can play through the full game for yourself. I believe it's Remedy's best game and deserves to be played at least once. Seeing as it's over 10 years old, I thought I'd highlight the game for those who didn't get a chance to play it when it originally released. If you're a fan of horror, mystery, or just appreciate good storytelling, then Alan Wake is a must play. You can find the game for pretty cheap these days, and I really recommend you hop into this game and try it for yourself. It just might surprise you. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one, and if you did, be sure to leave a like rating, subscribe for more, and I will see you all next time.